Good morning. Come on in. Good morning, beloved family. How are you guys today? Awesome. I like that. Okay. Well, welcome to our service for Sunday, May 7th, 2023. And welcome to all of our online family as well. Thank you for being a vital part of our collective consciousness as we explore and grow together. We would love to support your spiritual path, so please reach out to us in person or online. The definition of the words force and freedom sound in opposition of one another. While force describes an assertive power, freedom expresses liberation. But we know in nature, birds seem to defy gravity when they fly. They are actually using force to achieve the freedom of flight. When we connect to the force of God within, our freedom accelerates with divine velocity. And today, let's join my sweet husband, Michael Finn, to re-examine our relationships with this almighty force that is the fabric of our universe. Now let's stand as we join Julie Reagans, Curtis Bringle, Michael Stevens, and Bruce Wayne singing our welcome song.
Good morning. Good morning. So today we are, as we do every time we come here, having our statement of faith and vision and mission. So this morning, please join me as we affirm our statement of faith. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, and God the good, omnipotent. And our vision and mission statement. Let us unite together. We are an open-hearted spiritual community transforming our lives by honoring the sacred in all. And we practice this mission together. Inspired by our shared spiritual awakening, we offer practical teachings that empower healthy, abundant, and meaningful living. And the daily word reading today is free. Oh, I'm so excited to read this one today. Been doing a lot of stuff with wings these days. Okay, and so the affirmation is, I am one with the freeing, guiding force of God. When I think of freedom, I imagine a bird in flight, soaring above the earth. As the bird glides, it seems to effortlessly move through the air. Then it flaps its wings, moving upward and forward against the force of gravity. Likewise, I open my mind and my heart and feel that freeing force of God within. This force is powerful and peaceful, and I give myself over to it. As I do, I overcome stifling feelings of stress or doubt. I trust in God. I move forward and upward with a renewed purpose and confidence. Just as a bird overcomes gravity to fly with purpose, I overcome the challenges and circumstances of my life to find my purpose and live from my divine nature. I am free. And from Hebrews 13:6, so we can say with confidence, the Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. What can anyone do to me? Now with our gathering prayer, Nick Giovacchini.
Good morning. Good morning. I invite you to close your eyes as we align our heart, mind, and spirit with the living spirit of truth. Right now, in this very moment, we release all which blocks us from wading in the waters of the divine flow. Fear, anxiety, worry, past, present, and future. We let go. For in this moment, right here, right now, we honor, receive, and enact our unity with divine order, our unity with God. As we move from an egoic to a transcendent mind, the eyes of our heart are opened. We experience peace, openness, serenity, faith, surrender. For as we open the eyes of our heart, we see with the eyes of God, our vision made clear and true. We feel the light shining from the center of our being, both into us, energizing our soul, and out from us, enlivening our being and doing. Our eyes clear, our souls receptive, to walk lightly and with open hands, to enact the knowledge of the principles we receive here today. We listen for the Spirit's gentle promptings, the voice of our higher self, calling us to new heights. We act on faith with the sure knowledge that we are pursuing the right things. With clarity of vision and purity of soul, we see our neighbor, our community, our nation, and the whole world with love and unity rather than fear and division. As we unite with one heart, one mind, and one prayer, we seek more faith, more love, more hope, and more unity. We walk through the door of light which has opened before us to shine forth forevermore. Amen. And so it is.
Step out of the shadows, step out of the grave, break into the wild, and don't be afraid. Run into wide open spaces, grace is waiting for you. Dance like the weight has been lifted. Grace is waiting. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. There is freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. There is freedom. Come out of the dark, just as you are, into the fullness of His love. Where the Spirit is, here let there be freedom. Let there be freedom. Bring all of your burdens, bring all of your scars. Come back to communion, come back to the start. Run into wide open spaces, graces waiting for you. Dance like the weight has been lifted. Graces waiting. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. There is freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. There is freedom. Come out of the dark, just as you are, into the fullness of His love. Where the Spirit is, here let there be freedom. Let there be freedom. The Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. There is freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. There is freedom. Come out of the dark, just as you are, into the fullness of His love. For the Spirit is here, let there be freedom. Let there be freedom. Let there be freedom. Let there be freedom.
Yeah. Oh, all right, all right, all right. As always, huge ups to the band. I mean, can we give them some of this? Give them a little bit of this. We live in this small, amazing community. We come to this vortex here in Wimberley, and we get top-tier, world-class musicians week in, week out. And it is such an amazing, energetic transfer to start the day, right? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Jen and Nick, thank you so much. Beautiful wife. Good reading. Good to see all you guys. I love this. I'm here to talk about positive stuff today. Maybe some a little negative, but we're mostly positive. And I just want to lead off. I heard, I wasn't able to attend, but I heard wind of the amazing service that was here in this space yesterday for our beloved Bobby Mae Matthews, who passed away last year. I didn't personally have the chance to know her very well, but I heard just the most amazing things about her, and I heard that, as always, we stepped up, community stepped up and delivered just this amazing homage to this wonderful woman's life. So take that in. Feel her spirit here today, and feel your spirit. Feel the love, feel the hugeness, the heart that just pervades and takes over this space. Just feel that and own it, and be proud that you're a part of it, because it's a very wonderful thing that's happening here. Amen. A lot of imagery of birds this morning. Birds why I was running late today. Or chickens. I mean, when I talked about looking inwards, if I'm really looking inward, I'm always running a little bit late. So maybe it's not the birds, but it's a wonderful thing that's transpired. My wife, she didn't talk me into it, she just did it. But we got chickens. We're starting a little farm on 7 acres, and we're starting regenerative agriculture. We're having chickens. And when she posed, the idea of getting chickens, I poo-pooed it. I was like, no, don't. I saw the work that it was going to entail. I saw the endeavors we had to do. And I didn't see the positive outcome of having these little beautiful birds on our property would be. They've been there for about, 2 months? And our oldest son, Ford, has become enamored with them. He'll go out there every morning. He's got a job now. He'll go out to the little chicken coop, lets the chickens out, changes their water, gives them food. And he's had this huge bond with these chickens. He'll pick them up. He's got a favorite. He's named her Bessie. And he'll pick her up, and he'll hold her up to the mulberry bush so she gets her food. And it's the most heartwarming thing you've ever seen. They're like therapy chickens. I've heard of a therapy dog, but I didn't know chickens could foot that bill, and they really have. And that's the idea of what I want to talk about today, projection and our perception. There's this great quote that I came across a while back. It is, "You are an aperture through which the universe is looking at and exploring itself." Alan Watts said that. And I didn't know much about Alan Watts, so I looked him up. He's no longer with us anymore, but he deemed himself a philosophical entertainer. And he brought over ideology and teachings of Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism and made them apparent to a Western audience. And if my memory serves me correct, I came across that quote about 6 years ago. And I was scrolling my Buddhist quote app in the bathroom. I was hiding from my toddler and my wife, and I was having some me time in the bathroom. Every spiritual journey has got to start somewhere. And that's where mine started. And it was rocky times back then, man. We had just moved back to Texas from LA. I had pretty much given up on a career that I'd been pursuing. It was a loss of identity. And we came back here and we're trying to integrate ourselves and get established. We just buried my dad a few years prior, got married, got pregnant. My wife did, not me. She got on a nationally televised TV show, then it was canceled. And so we found ourselves back here in Texas, and I was just really struggling. I was struggling with, grief, a lot of big emotions, anxiety, health anxiety. And so my gateway to spirituality was scrolling these wise apps, these wise quotes on my phone in the bathroom. And that's where it started. It was, I was almost ashamed of it. I'd go hide. I was like, I need some time to myself. And I ran across that quote, and it was just so beautiful. You are an aperture through which the universe is looking at and exploring itself. And I didn't really probably get it at the time. I didn't understand it, but I kept coming back to it. And to me, it's such a beautiful expression or explanation of existence, right? It's a very nice bent on we're all God. God and I are one. God and we are one. We're all God. It's a nice take on that we are this universal golden thread that runs through existence. And existence, being here in itself is a miracle. I was doing some research, and Dr. Ali Benazir, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he's a Harvard scientist, blogger, and writer. And he postulated that our odds of being here, being born on this plane into existence, is something like 1 in 10 to the 2,685,000 power. So, I'm not a Harvard guy. I'm pretty smart. I take his word for it. I'm not saying he's right, but I think we can agree on the fact that it's pretty miraculous we're here. That we're here on this plane, in this body, getting to have a witness conscious, getting to see what's passing before our eyes. And so then, if we're apertures through which the universe is exploring, that begs the question, what are we looking at, and how are we looking at it? Are we looking at life with this limited, negative bent? Or do we have an abundance consciousness? Do we sit in gratitude to witness the miracles that pass by us every single second of every single day? Because if we acknowledge the fact that it's miraculous we're here, what is there to be upset about, really? Well, it turns out a lot, right? We got that driver in front of us. We got our screaming kids. We got politicians we don't agree with. We got people that are mean to us. So all this stuff comes in at us, and we perceive it as this negative thing. And I'm going to dive a little bit into psychology today, but the truth is there's really no reason why we cannot have a super ability to sit in our seat of consciousness every single second of every single day and let stuff pass through us. Because honest to God truth, and no one wants to acknowledge it, I don't a lot of times, but we have these energies, these forces that rise up from seemingly out of nowhere, and they'll just take you on this ride, this emotional roller coaster. And all of a sudden you're having a great day and someone says something to you, or you see something you don't agree with, and you're lost. You just, you fly, boy. You leave your seat of consciousness. You leave your seat of godliness. There's a great adage, we have emotions, emotions don't have us. A lot of times that's not true. Because something that happened to us usually a long time ago. I mean, Freud said, show me the boy when he's 7 and I'll show you the man. And for an overwhelming majority of us, that's true. We don't take the time to go inward and look at these things, these energetic tendencies we have. Because every time something happens to us we don't like, we react a certain way. And it creates this funnel. It irrigates this big hole where in every other time something happens, the water, the energy just rushes through quicker and stronger and stronger. And before you know it, it becomes your personality. You have tendencies to be this way. I was taken on a huge ride a couple weeks ago. Not really proud of it, but a little backstory. My wife and I, we've got an LLC, and we've got a few rental properties in and around the area in Central Texas. And when we closed on our first property, I think it was in the seller's agreement they gave it to us. It was, you get 1 year premium for this home warranty company. And it sounded good. It sounded like a prudent idea for me. I was trying to be a smart businessman. I was like, well, things break. Let's have a warranty on it. They'll cover it. First year, nothing really happens. Second year, a few things go wrong. But the third year, things were breaking left and right. I was calling people a lot, and their service was really subpar. It wasn't integrity, how they ran their business, how I wanted to run mine. And it started coming to a head last month, and literally my tenant got left in kind of a lurch, and I just got frustrated because I'd call in, and every time I'd call in, they'd divert me to some call center in some place I judge is like 2,000 to 3,000 miles away. And I just felt prostrate. I felt helpless, like I couldn't do anything because it was so far away, and I kept having to make excuses. Then they'd come, it wouldn't be right. I couldn't talk to the actual supplier, the actual guy that was going to come fix it. And so I was sitting there, and like every day it got worse, and I took this ticket I like to call to Wallow City. And we all go there, and it's a one-way ticket. And we sit there, and we just let these energies fester, and I was just getting all just mad. And I was like, you know what, Finn? You've got sovereignty, right? You can make a call. You can cancel this subscription. But there's this little granule of fear. Well, if I do that, what if something goes wrong? They won't cover me. But then I'm like, well, they're not doing a good job anyway. So let's just go and do it. So I get on the phone, and I feel these energies come up, and I'm getting and I get on the phone, and they divert me to a guy I can talk to. He seems relatively local, at least in the contiguous 48 states. And I start talking to him, and I see my energies just rising. I'm getting angry, I'm getting mad, and I'm getting defensive, and I was about ready to just unload, and I stopped myself. I found my seat of self, my seat of integrity. And I realized what I saw in front of me was another human being. He wasn't responsible for the company's policies. He's not enacting it. He's just doing his job. And he's got kind of an unsavory one, right? His job is to take calls from people that are irritated from 9 to 5, or I don't know his schedule, but it's just people are dumping on him all the time. And that's what we do. These energies come up, and we need a whipping boy, essentially. We need somewhere to project it because it's too much for us to sit with. So I sat there. I said, hey, man, I took a breath. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to seem hostile or aggressive towards you. It's just, this doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. And he stopped, and I just felt this shift, this energetic shift. He said, you know what? I really appreciate that. Thank you. Because I understand what you're going through, and honestly, I'd probably be more upset than you were. I don't think I could handle it the way you were. You seem like a really good human being, and I hope you have a blessed day. When we finished up and hung up the phone, and I legit started bawling. I started crying. I sat there, and tears were running down my face. I felt this sense of relief because I was glad that energies came out that way. They got to go somewhere. And I was able to find my integrity and my goodness, and I started thinking back to the Easter story, which was just a few weeks ago. And I started thinking about Jesus. I was like, no, this is good, Finn. You're being like Jesus. Not in the sense of like what I did was so fantastic. Like, I didn't berate somebody over the phone. Look at me, a great guy. No, just in the sense that Jesus stayed in integrity, and he was a paragon for good. He realized that might over right wasn't the way. And I sat with that, and I started to feel better. But then, of course, the thinking mind comes in, always loves to cross-examine the witness. And it's like, oh, Finn, but you know what they did to him, right? He did all this good stuff. He stood up for goodness and kindness. But guess what? They killed him. And I forget all the time about the end of the story. The end of the story, the ascension, the rebirth, the resurrection. Because we crucify ourselves every single day. And there might be times in this world where we need to pull punches, or swallow our words. And it might not be the easiest thing, but ultimately, it's probably for the greater good. And we may need to die 1,000 little deaths a day, but there's a rebirth every single time we strive and aspire higher. Because you cannot destroy energy. In our eternal bodies, they never die. So it's always better to see the goodness and try to be the good in everything you do. Even the most benign, simple little things. It definitely, it's a multiplier. You plant that seed, it will grow. It reminded me of this poem that my mother had on her bulletin board growing up that I would always walk by as a teenager and scoff at. But now I see the wisdom in it. It's, let me come at it. It's Mother Teresa's Anyway poem. People are often unreasonable, illogical, self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never, ever be enough. But give the world the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it's between you and your God. It was never between you and them anyway. But we always make it about them, don't we? I always let so many people live rent-free in my mind all the time. And I always try to get in other people's mind like I'm some clairvoyant, and I'm just wasting my time. We're just spinning and spinning and spinning. And a lot of times we try to do good, but we feel we don't see the change. And if it's like the Tupac song, Still I See No Changes, which was, I love that song, man. Growing up in Marble Falls, Texas, for some reason, I was just on the main streets of Marble Falls. Anyway, it's a great song. Sample Bruce Hornsby in The Range, The Way It Is. You guys might not know Tupac. Anyway, let the universe know you want to change, right? Let it know it. Demand it. Will it. We often forget, and it's the most ridiculous thing in a lot of religions and ideologies, at least for me it was. We put God out here, and we forget we were made in the image of spirit. But oftentimes we flip that script. We make God in the image of us. We give God a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, and it limits everything. It limits the potentiality that we have to go further. Because remember back to what the Harvard guy said? The chances of us being here are infinitesimal, so there's a reason we're here. If we can demand it, you would be probably really, really surprised at how the universe responds. If you show that you're energetically ready to do these things that you wish to do. Let's be scientists. Let's study and really get to know this soft technology that is our bodies, or these human vessels. We've just scratched the surface, the tip of the iceberg, of what our potentiality as human beings are. I've been listening to a lot of Greg Braden stuff. I told myself I wouldn't go there because I'm going off the rails. I probably should do a whole talk about this, but it's called the God Code. And it's fantastic if you guys haven't been turned on to it. And he talks about, he's way more erudite than I am, but just talking about how looking at our genes and DNA, there is a code actually embedded that if you use gematria, which is this really, it's a way of, here we go. It's a way of reading Hebrew and letters and numbers and finding their meanings in modern day terms. And there is a code basically saying in every single one of our cells, that we are the God is within us. Anyway, I digress. I'm just saying that we can be the change. We can do the most good, anything we want. We just can't let them tell us we can't. And who are they? We know who they are. The voices in our head, people disseminating information from the top down, trying to replace the word tribe with side, trying to put fear in your lives every single day, because if we look at fear, we break it down. Fear is false events appearing real. There's often no validity to what's transpiring right in front of you. We extrapolate from the past, and we stifle what the present has to offer. Our capabilities are limitless. Reminds me of this fantastic passage from Practical Metaphysics, A New Insight into Truth by Eric Butterworth. The passage is called, God Doesn't Intervene. Usually we chalk it up as just one of those things or a miracle or something or other. But the intervention of God. God doesn't intervene. This is where we make a mistake. We deal with life out of our sense of inadequacy, saying, well, I guess God found me, or God looked upon favor to me, or God came out of the blue and helped me. God doesn't come out of the blue. God is the allness potential that is always present. We either suppress it or we release it. Out of our sense of inadequacy, we say, well, God did it. As in, God took away the life or God gave the life. Don't blame God. And don't give credit to God except for the God activity that is manifesting in and through you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Not from an ego sense, but from the realization of getting rightly centered in the process as it works. God can do no more for you than he can do through you. Through your consciousness, through your faith, through your understanding. It's important to keep that context always. The key to this experience is ever-present potentiality, the mystic act of faith that releases the process, a power and a uniqueness, an I am-age that is always present. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could always know that? If we could really live in that consciousness, we could all be superhuman. Fact is, we can all be a little more super in terms of exceeding our past performance in all things that we do. American author Elbert Hubbard used to say, "Man's not what he thinks, but what he thinks he is." And nothing could be more true. How we think affects everything. It affects how we view the world. If we think the world's out to get us, it will be. If we think we're going to get sick or be sick, we will. If we think we're not enough or not good enough, we won't be. But if we think that we are wonderful, divine, creatures of God, and if we start seeing the energy that everyone has instead of the form, I think we'd have such a better opportunity for building something we can be really proud of. Because how we view ourselves is often how we view the world. And how we view the world really shapes and affects how we interact with it. Last week I was running to HEB for what felt like the 758th time that week. And I was just, I was in a hurry. I had to be somewhere. I don't even know what I had to do, but I was stressing out. And I was like, every night before I go to bed, my prayers are often apologies for how I was that day. That morning I was like, I'm going to be better. I put my feet on the ground. The kids were acting crazy. I was running late. Had to go to HEB, and I got there. I ran through, get all my stuff, throw it in the checkout aisle. And HEB in Dripping Springs is great. They employ a lot of people that, we might view have disabilities. Gives them a chance to work, earn an honest wage, and just really be paragons and good examples for the community. I threw my stuff on the belt, and I look up, and the guy that was going to bag my groceries, he had limited use. He really had use of one of his arms. I was like, oh, man. So I ran over there to start bagging, help him, but really the truth is, I was trying to railroad him. I wanted to get my stuff and get out of there. I ran over there, started bagging, and he looked at me. He's like, hey, sir, I like your outfit. I was like, oh, thanks, man. Still bagging, hurrying. He's like, where are you from? I told him, well, I'm from Texas, but we moved back from California. He's like, oh, I'm from California. We start talking, and this guy's probably like 19, 20. He's half my age. He starts talking about his taste in music, movies he loves, cinema. He's quoting Tarantino. And I'm like, my mind is blown. And I sat there and I forgot what I was in such a rush for, what I was in such a hurry for. I saw this young man, this beautiful, as for a beautiful expression of God that he is, and I left my story behind. And I left HEB with this sense of just fulfillment and love. And I forgot what I was in a hurry for anyway. And it reminds me of that Alabama song, that old country song. You guys probably know this one. It goes, I'm in a hurry to get things done. Oh, I rush until life's no fun. All I ever gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry and don't know why. Exactly. There's a lot of wisdom in country music. It's metaphysical too. You know that if you play a country song backwards, get your dog back, you get your truck back, get your lover back, get your life back. It's good to laugh. It's good to laugh. It's good medicine. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Just take the time to breathe. I mean, so much comes at us. And we get so mad about it and so worked up about it. We got to know nothing can get done that way. Nothing can get done that way. We need to honor the God in every single one of us because we're all fingers from the same God hand. We're all droplets from the same ocean. And this life it's so beautiful. We've got senses. We've got our 5 senses, and we rarely use them the way they should. And there's so many different flavors of God. There's so many different flavors of life. Baskin Robbins ain't got nothing on God. And that's why everybody looks different. That's why everyone acts different. That's why everyone's story's different. But it would be so boring if everything was the same, if everything was similar. So every single person is here to teach you something if you let them. And that driver in front of you that won't go fast. Kids that are screaming at you. The barista that gets your drink wrong every time you go in to get your coffee. Every single person is a divine expression of God. As are we, as are you. And the more we realize that, the more better things will be. What are we looking at? Have you ever smelled mountain laurel? Have you ever let the rain fall on your face, drench your clothes, and not be mad about it? Have you ever made love and be fully present? These things are gifts, and we take them for granted. So all I'm asking, all I want to project is, can we look at ourselves and see this beauty? Can we look at our neighbors and see this beauty moving forward? It's pretty simple if we let it. I had a dream this morning. And I walked into the church. It was real time. And it was just filled. It was a different church. There was so many people here. It looked different, but it was the same. Dreams are a little bit trippy. And I was excited because, wow, we got so many people here today. But something was off. It was kind of bizarro world. And it was like we had forgotten the soul of what makes this place so unique and special. So moving forward, I know we know all this, but let us be present here and be grateful for what we have. And if we need to, let us give back. What we have for this community is so special. It's so amazing. It gives and gives and gives. So if you feel called to give more of yourself and be more open, express your God, I encourage you to do it. Let's blaze the trails for the people that still haven't found their home. We need to remember that you are not beings in a universe, but the universe in a being. So let's close our eyes and take a breath and try to process the grandiosity that is us, that is ourselves, that is our beings, our uniqueness. Take a few breaths if you can. Start in your belly if you can. And feel that. Feel that space. Feel that energy rush through you. We can't really see the breath. We can feel it. We can't see it. And it's almost weightless. But my goodness, it has such a power. It is the embodiment of the power of us, of that God presence. For we know God is closer than our hands and feet and nearer than our next breath. So let's focus on that breath and let's ride that wave. And I want you to think about something you haven't been able to think about. We've all got something. We know it's there. Whatever that is for you, I want you to think about it. And find the trust in the ability to sit in the uncomfortableness that is that energy. I want you to sit with something that bothers you. And I want you to breathe into it. And I want you to expand yourself in your mind to a place with no limitations, no boundaries, nothing to block you. I want you to breathe into that and breathe in the hope and the love and the strength of the divine, the the strength of your being. Let it get to the top. And then just exhale slowly. Make sure you get it all out and let go of whatever is burdening you. Spread your wings and see that you are able to travel. You are spirit. You are timeless. You are part of this energetic golden thread that ties us all together. We don't have to have all the answers. But we have to have this trust and faith for this experience, for the greatness that is this moment. Focus on the good. And the good will focus on you, and it will find you. Our souls are ethereal. There should be no weight attached. And with those reminders, remind yourself that there's nothing you cannot do, nothing you can't overcome, and no heights you cannot soar to. Take another breath. And know you are God, my loves. Know you are protected. Know you are taken care of. Know that you are loved. And know that you are love. We thank you, God, to see this. Let us wipe our lens clean and take in the wonder and the splendor that we're able to sow and we're ultimately able to reap. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. And you sure are cute in those pink pants. Someone had to say it. So now, with grateful hearts, we put our abundance into action as we complete the sacred circle of giving and receiving. Let's take a moment to bring this truth into our hearts as we prepare our offerings and as our ushers come forward. We are a tithing church that supports our community and beyond in gratitude. To view a list of where we send our gifts, please click on the Prosperity Consciousness page on our website. You can review and choose your payment option by scanning this QR code on the screen. And to our beloved online family, if this message supports your spiritual growth, please consider making us a part of your abundance practice. We thank you for the gifts you have already sent and affirm the gifts you are sending now. And now let us offer this affirmation of abundance together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
No more running down the wrong road, dancing to a different drum. Can't you see what's going on deep inside your heart?
We are so blessed by you guys every Sunday. Thank you so much. Yes. All right, let's bless these gifts. Together, we bless these gifts and the givers with our love and gratitude. Before we begin our announcements, let us affirm the joyful and divine search for our new minister together. God's infinite love and wisdom now guide us to the right and perfect spiritual leader for our community. We let the activity of the one mind reveal this divine appointment as we unite in our gratitude for our new minister. Now, a message about our ministerial search from Nick Giovacchini.
Hi again. Alrighty, so one thing I want to say is I know for a fact there's plenty of people sitting here today that have not gone online and took the survey. And you know how I know that? Do you know how I know that? Because people hate taking surveys. I get it. But the reason why I want to say this survey is different than every other survey you've ever taken is because with the energy that you put into this survey, with the thoughtfulness, with the guidance, with the clarity of hope about what this new minister is going to be, we're effectively uniting in what we're manifesting for our new minister. So I encourage you, if you haven't taken the time to take the survey, take it. It takes 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more, but it's not going to take you too long. And the deadline's Friday. So you got a couple days to do it. For you online listeners, you guys, some of you can scan the code. You can take it right now. If you're online, you can scan it. We send out emails. It's on our website. It's on the homepage. There's a lot of places we've made it as accessible as possible. If you need me to print it out and mail it to you or walk to your house to have you fill it out in pen and paper, I'll even do that. So take the survey. It's going to really help us just have really clear understanding of what everybody in this church is really hoping for as we unite in our search for a new minister. A couple other things. So Finn took the effort of putting together a beautiful video representing our community. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Finn for doing it. And thank you to everybody who contributed to that as well, because what we've done with that is we've got a really awesome video that's now on the job posting directly on there, where every single Unity minister that's out there looking for a job, looking for their next opportunity, looking for where they're going to lead, is going to be able to see what our community is and how it represents us. And the thing I'll say about that is that there's no other churches that are doing this. Like, we've really been able to stand out and represent ourselves in a really positive light as a result. And the last thing is just a general update. As the ministerial search committee, we've been being as proactive as we possibly can at this point to just get as much feedback, as much guidance, as much clarity from everybody, within the Unity world as we can. Last week we met with Maggie to kind of get an understanding. She teaches a class on preaching at the Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. So we got to get her takes on how the new ministers that are coming out of the school are what they're looking for, how they are. And we're just doing everything we can to get as much information, knowing that we're going to put in work, we're going to be taking steps forward, and that new minister is going to be taking those steps towards us as well. So that's pretty much all the announcements I have for you today. Thank you very much.
And now a message from our grounds team, Andrea Ballantyne and Ann Hollows.
Hey, everybody. Unfortunately, Andrea couldn't be here with me today because, as you know, her mom is transitioning and today's a tough day. So, just me. There was an archaeologist here about 15 years ago who told us that this was a really important Native American site years and years ago. Finn was talking about the energy that you feel here. I bet you can remember the first time you ever came up on the hill and you could feel something. Andrea and I wanted to ask you if you would consider recommitting to this place, to the physical place that is Unity. We lost a lot of kind of our momentum along the grounds during COVID. You know, people just couldn't get here. We don't have any support for these grounds other than a very, very part-time maintenance guy who does some mowing, and Taylor, God bless him, will get out there on the mower as well. It's us, you guys. And we're looking a little raggedy around the edges. It has to be said. I see you, and I see how much you already do. Each and every one of you, especially you, Mr. Potts. It's like just when you think more can't be done, I'm going to ask you to reach in and step up and think about how you might be able to help us going forward. And your first opportunity is actually Saturday, May 20th. And what we're doing is a burn. All the limbs that have come down from that ice storm, you've probably seen them all around. There is a ton of them, and none of them are in the same place. We have like piles of piles. So what our job will be on the 20th is basically to use as many chainsaws and pole saws as we can get to cut those limbs into smaller pieces. We're going to put them in trailers and pickup trucks and bring them to 2 burn piles that we'll have on site. And then we're just going to have big old bonfires and donuts and breakfast tacos and music if we could figure out how to do it. And I would love for you to be there. We need all the help we can get. If you look around, there is just so much. And for us, it's a huge fire hazard. As we get into the hotter months, we're in some trouble here if we don't clean this up on the 20th. And we'll come back and we'll do more if we have to, but I think the more people we can get out there, we can get her done. We can. And I know you'll help. And even if you think, well, I don't have a chainsaw, I can't lift heavy stuff, we will find something for you to do. Do not worry. Takes many hands. So please join Andrea and I and all the rest of you who've already committed at 8 o'clock on the 20th, and we'll get those suckers moved and burned and start recommitting to these beautiful, beautiful grounds. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. And if you want more information about that, reach out to Anne or Aida, and sending lots of love to Andrea today and her mom. All right, today is Potluck Sunday. Please plan to stay after the service and join us for our monthly shared lunch. And we always have plenty. If you didn't bring anything, doesn't matter. Stay and have some good food and good company. And join us next Sunday, Mother's Day. Mark your calendar for May 14th as we welcome Stacy Collins, who will be joining us as our special guest speaker from Unity of Houston. Wednesday Book Study has started a new book called Hiring the Heavens, a practical guide to developing working relationships with the spirits of creation. You can join anytime, bring a sack lunch from 11:30 to 1:30 for this group-directed book study. Midday Reflections returns on Thursday with the Unity Chaplains. Tune in midweek for a short reconnection with Spirit with prayer, meditation, and contemplation each week. Available on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or on our church phone app. And join the Kirtan Meditation Chanting Group every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. before the service. They meet right down the hall, right here in a classroom, and all are welcome. Crisis bread basket needs are on the screen. You can bring donations here, or you can mail a monetary gift directly to the address on the screen. For prayer needs, care team needs, and ways to get involved, you can reach out to the email addresses on the screen, and you can check our website out, the event page for all upcoming groups and events. A reminder that Nick Giovacchini is here to pray with you after service. And our prayer request box and gratitude jars are in the Fireside Room buffet. And if you're visiting today, please consider filling out a blue information card so that we can welcome you properly. Now let's sing in our kids.
You are alive. You are alive. You are alive in this world. You are alive. You are alive. You are alive in this world. And you shine. And you shine. And you shine so bright. And you shine. And you shine. And you shine so bright.
Let's bless these children. Youth of Unity, we love you. We bless you and we appreciate you just the way you are. And that brings us to the close of our service. Please join us as we pray our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
I realize